Well, that's one thing about hunting deer on Kodiak that everybody will ask when they're looking for a hunt there is they ask about the bears. So the bear's going to bother me. And most of the time they don't, except for we tell people, and we pick people up at the end of the day and we say, do whatever you can do to get that deer out, because if you leave it up there, I tell people they got about a 50-50 chance. Well, that's the thing about my wife's cooking. The only complaint she's ever had is she cooks too much. Because half the people that come by the booth say that they're a little upset because they gained 10 pounds when they were up there. So we all grew up hunting and fishing. She's been encouraged to get her own online show. She's got a show called Crimson Trail on YouTube. And so I'm really happy for her. She's got a huge future in singing, and she wants to be able to grow them together with the industry to show people that she can put a pretty dress on and sing songs and win awards in LA like she's done, but also go out and like she shot a moose 2 years ago, and she wouldn't let anybody cut that moose up but her. She shot a bear in May. She had to skin that bear. So, I mean, she's the real deal.
Welcome to the RNA Outdoors podcast, fueled by Ripcord Arrow Rest and First Light Hunting Apparel. At RNA, we are public land DIY conservationists that love to share our passion for the outdoors. So join us and our team as we interview professionals in the industry to share insight knowledge that helps make hunters and anglers more successful. Hey listeners, subscribers, and fellow outdoorsmen and women. This is your host, Lucas Paw, and I'm excited to tell you about some of the sponsors that continue to help make this podcast not only happen, but grow and thrive in this digital world of audio content. This podcast is brought to you by Ripcord Arrow Rest, the bow hunter's #1 fall-away rest on the market. Ripcord is known for 100% full-time arrow containment and their patented drop-dead brake system that eliminates launcher bounce back. Best of all, Ripcord is backed by their rock-solid guarantee. If the original owner has a part break for any reason, it will be repaired or replaced at no charge. And did I mention? Ripcord is located in southwest Montana, where all their products are made with pride in America. Check them out at ripcordarrowrest.com and on their social media feeds. This podcast is brought to you by First Light Clothing and Hunting Apparel. Born in the Rockies in central Idaho, First Light's mission is to create simple, yet proven, versatile gear that provides comfort and performance in any situation while working to promote the pursuit of ethical hunting and stewardship. I recently joined the First Light Pro Staff team and have continued to be impressed year after year in their innovations in engineering of merino wool fabrics. 10 years ago, they started putting out wool fabrics with camo patterns, and immediately this changed the game. Since then, they offer multiple layering systems and kits in various proprietary patterns and continue to raise the bar with their competition. Find them online at firstlight.com or under their social media feeds. Go farther, stay longer. We are here at day 2 at the Western Hunting Expo, and excited to be here in Salt Lake City 2019 and Valentine's weekend, right? So we're away from all the sweeties, but we're here at Kodiak Charters, which is the one of the elite Kodiak Alaska charters in Kodiak Island, Alaska. And I'm here joined with Jason Quick from the NRA, my good buddy, neighbor, and soon to be not neighbor, but still my neighbor, Jason.
I'm gonna be one of your neighbors. I'm trying to move to Prescott. So,
really?
Yep. So. Yeah, we're here with Randy, and Terri is refusing to put a headset on, so we'll heckle her a little bit while we're doing this. But just so everybody knows that Randy is a transporter on Kodiak Island, and let me tell you, I went up I think it was 18, 19 years ago for my first experience on Kodiak Island with Randy and Terri. And now their daughter has her own outfit, and Crimson has been on
She's a friend of the podcast
show in the past. So, Randy, welcome to the show.
Bet, thank you.
So, Randy, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and how this all developed into what you have going today?
Well, I was born and raised in Kodiak, Alaska. I was raised by my dad the same way he was raised. We learned to hunt and shoot guns probably earlier than we should have. My first memory of shooting a gun, I think I was 7. My kids grew up shooting chipmunks when they were like 3 or 4 years old. One kind of a funny story was, because I guess I'm an old timer. I've been hunting.
How many years has Kodiak Charter been going?
About 30 years.
About 30 years.
Wow.
About 30 years. There's one kind of funny story. I took my son out rabbit hunting when he was 4 years old.
Yeah.
And we went rabbit hunting with a little chipmunk 22, and he shot a couple rabbits. And my wife kept saying, "You got to have him back here for Halloween because he's going to go trick or treating." So we took too long out the road to go hunting. We came back in the dark. So when I come home, my wife's mad. She's like, "I told you we got to have him back here by dark for Halloween." I said, "Well, we'll just take him where he is right now. Then he's a hunter. He's got a rabbit." And she's like, "You can't take him out to Halloween." I said, "You know, they tease us we're like the Griswolds. We do all kinds of shit that other people don't do." So he said, "We'll take him the way we are right now." She goes, "You can't do that." I said, "Let's just do it." So one of the first houses we go to is my sister's house. And here's my son sitting there. He's got camo hat on, a little chipmunk. He's got his dead rabbit, you know. So, I mean, trick or treat is costumes. So to me, that wasn't that far out of the realm.
Sure.
So my sister's going, "Oh, that's so cute." She gives him candy, and she looks at him. She goes, "That's not a real rabbit, is it?" I go, "Yeah, it is." She goes, "Randy, how could you take your son to a real rabbit?" I said, "Well, you know, it's Halloween." So anyway, she got a kick out of that one. So anyway, that's basically describes how young I started my kids hunting, and basically, like my daughter, she won the big buck contest when she was 10 years old. Again, when she was 13, 14. So we all grew up hunting and fishing. She's been encouraged to get her own online show. She's got a show called Crimson Trail on YouTube. And so I'm really happy for her. She's got a huge future in singing, and she wants to be able to grow them together with the industry to show people that she can put a pretty dress on and sing songs and win awards in L.A. like she's done, but also go out and like she shot a moose 2 years ago, and she wouldn't let anybody cut that moose up but her.
Wow.
She shot a bear in May. She had to skin that bear. So, I mean, she's the real deal.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So now you primarily do fishing and black-tailed deer.
Yep.
And ducks.
Yep.
And now I saw you said caribou.
Well, basically, I used to commercial fish like Deadliest Catch. In fact, some of the crew members in Deadliest Catch used to work for me years ago. And so I used to do hunts kind of part-time until about 20-some years ago, something like that. We kind of built our family operation around our whole family. And so we've kind of just grown it that way. So I still partially, like I crab fished last summer, and I'm going to crab fish again this summer, so I still do that. But my wife, they run the operation from fishing throughout the summer where we do halibut, salmon, and then the hunting season is October, November, December. So
okay.
I kind of go back and forth now. But my daughter is kind of branching off. She has Kodiak Safaris now. She has an online show, and she really, really enjoys doing things for kids. She's got a thing called Crimson for kids, and she likes bringing, starting kids off very young, because I mean, once you start them off and you get them going, like my son's got 2 kids. The lady he married had 2 kids, and 2 of them took off, and one of them didn't, which is fine. But once you introduce them to it, it's exciting to see how young they can start off doing stuff like that.
Well, it's a lifestyle, right? I mean, when you're born and raised in that, it becomes a lifestyle. It's what you do, eating the meat, eating the fish. I mean, that's what that's.
Well, my daughter was asked last year, maybe on this podcast, she was saying what was the most difficult hunter, the most experienced hunt. And I'll tell you a story. The first year they allowed mountain goats to be killed on Kodiak was when I was 10 years old. And half the town drew for it, and I got picked to shoot a mountain goat when I was 10. I shot the very first mountain goat at 10 years old. Well, then I had to, of course, when my son turned 10, I wanted him to shoot one with the same 243 that I shot mine with. So, of course, when my daughter turned 10, she had to do the same thing. And that's where probably my first bad experience with hunting with all the years I've hunted is we got a little too carried away. We went too far back back. We're with a 10-year-old. That girl went 4 days in by we're talking walking, staying in a tent to shoot her mountain goat at 10 years old. So she got a goat at 10 years old, but we almost didn't make it back out there. If I wouldn't have my 2 boys with me, I'm not sure we would have made it back. I'd probably still be up there because I was just completely spent.
I was going to say, if you would have left her, I know that Terri would have left you there.
Well,
no pun intended.
We had an adopted son. He was 18. My son was 18, and we're trying to get back out of there because we were too far. Because I was trying to, it was meant a lot to me to get her one with the same gun with the same age, but we were way too far back in there. But it worked out okay. But I remember going back. I kept looking at my sons, going, "Could you take a little bit more of my pack with you?" And they kept saying, after a while, going, "Dad, how much are you going to give me?" I said, "Well, I'll tell you what. If you don't take some of my pack, you're going to be packing me pretty soon." Because, and my poor Stephanie, she's only 10 years old, so she not only shot a mountain goat at 10 years old, she went on a hell of a hunt to be able to do it. So, and then she won the big buck contest that year too, which was kind of awesome. So yeah, she started off pretty young. So hunting's a big thing in our family.
Sure. Well, Randy, I it's funny. We've known each other for 20 plus years. In fact, it was a couple of years until I actually came up and went hunting with you, because I was involved with the mule deer, and that's where we first met. I was selling advertising and booths and stuff like that. Yep. And I still remember when you invited me up, and then Jim Sessions, my friend at Best of the West, Huskama Optics, came with, and this was even before Best of the West or Huskama Optics even existed. And we came up to film, and we did all kinds of fun stuff. In fact, you showed us some really fun clips from back in the day. But I still remember you pulling crab pots and sitting around a table. And I'm telling you, when you have 30 crabs, I was trying my best at that young age to try to see if I could eat as much crab as I possibly could. I gained a little bit of weight on that trip with you.
Well, that's the thing about my wife's cooking. The only complaint she's ever had is she cooks too much. Because half the people that come by the booth say that they're a little upset because they gained 10 pounds when they were up there.
Well, and that's really the fun thing too.
Yeah, that's part of it. So, Randy, maybe talk a little bit about some of your accommodations, what you provide if a new hunter was to come and hunt with you. Is it specifically hunting out of a lodge? Is it hunting off a boat?
Yeah, well, a lot of people here, like in Kodiak, they see these boat hunts and they think that's the best way to hunt. And I guess you've been on one, which is true. But as many years as I've been there, I've kind of found a way to be able to do both. We found a really remote part of the island where we have a couple lodges, and so we go out by boat during the day, but then you come back to the lodge at night, because as you know, those boats, even if they're bigger boats, they can get kind of small after 5 days. You got a bunch of stinky hunters on there and eating cereals for breakfast,
trying to hang all your wet clothes up and trying to dry everything off.
So basically we have a decent sized boats that we can go out during the day to go to different spots during the day, but you can come back in a lodge at night. So, and then we also combine it with other things like sea ducks, and there's fox, and we can go halibut fishing, and pulling crab pots is a huge favorite. And very few outfitters take advantage of that. There's not crab on everywhere in Kodiak, but that's a huge favorite.
Yeah, we did crab. We set pots and had crab. We had crab dinner. We had crab Louis hollandaise in the morning, and it was excellent.
There's nothing better than fresh crab. If you've eaten crab and it's not the same as you eat in like a casino because it's been frozen. Once it's frozen, it's not the same as fresh. So that's a huge. We've had people that, no matter how good the hunting and fishing was, that was probably the highlight of their trip, was that dumping those crab pots, pulling them.
Yeah, and now, Randy, as a transporter, basically what your specialty is, you've got a place for people to stay.
Right.
You take them out in the morning safely, take them from one location to another, drop them off, make an arranged time for them to make a day hunt, and then come back, and then you pick them up and bring them back to the lodge, correct?
Right.
So,
well, a question I get asked a lot is people ask me, with all the years that I've lived there, they a lot of times I'm asked why haven't I ever been a certified guide? And the answer is real simple: is it just too much work from what I can see? I mean, we do unguided hunts where we drop people off. They usually see plenty of deer, get plenty of deer, and we have a lot of happy hunters. I've never really been interested in being a guide. To me, sometimes there's a thin line between being a guide and babysitting, so I've never really been interested. But people ask, say, if you've hunted them for 50 years, how come you haven't been a guide? And quite frankly, I just don't have the personality for it anyway. That's a special kind of person that can spend all day. It's like my wife, I tell, we're like the head of the family operation. I tell her she's my other half, but I think it's more like I'm like one quarter.
Well, I know Terri wouldn't get on this with us, so we'll talk about her since she's sitting over there ignoring us.
Right.
But the reality is that she does keep you in order.
Well, yeah, but she's the personality of the operation. That's what I say. She's
the glue.
It's more
Keeps
like
it all together.
75-25.
And folks, she's smiling, so we're doing a good job on the buttering up side of things.
Well, yeah, anytime somebody makes a compliment about staying with us, I never hear my name mentioned much. I only hear hers.
Well,
No, that's not completely true. I mean, I get along with some people really good, and then other people I just step away and let somebody else take care of it. But
Sure.
Well, and once again, the fun part about Kodiak Island is it's so diverse. I mean, it is crazy to think that you can take somebody out and go halibut fishing, and then the next day you could run over and shoot a black-tailed deer. And then the day after that, you could set up some decoys and shoot some ducks. It's just mind-blowing, really. And I told Lucas, he went on this last experience, and he had a fantastic time. And I told him before, because I was like, man, I went with Randy, and I'm like, geez, there's just so much to do. There's just not enough time to do it all.
And I'm really surprised that more outfitters over the years haven't caught on, because like crab pots, for instance, I mean, we've had guys that was, like last year, for instance, these guys shot some really nice bucks, and they said, well, do we have time to pull the crab pots? I said, yeah. So we went and pulled the crab pots. In fact, that's that picture right there, actually.
Oh, all of them in the group
that's
there?
a cool
And
photo.
they got back that night, and all they talked about was the crab. You know, there was nothing mentioned about the really nice bucks they shot that day. It was all about the crab.
There's some great deer in that picture, too.
So, yeah.
really nice
Each
deer.
one of those guys shot a deer that day, and then they caught the crab. So, it's amazing, what makes it nice, too, is let's say the weather's kind of crappy for a day or so. By having other things to do, it fills in. Like a guy can go duck hunting or go fishing and do other things. So it's a big asset. It's always amazed me why more of them don't do it, because my philosophy has always been, if you have them there, why wouldn't you take advantage of doing it?
Yeah.
Well, and this is what I point out to everybody. Okay, most of the people, especially at this show, they're hunters. They're doing most of the things all themselves, okay? So here's your flyer that you have, and I'll just go over this with people. The show special for only $2,850, how many days does that count for? That's a 5-day, 5-night excursion, right?
Yep.
So then you have to buy your tags, license, and get yourself up there. But on your photos, it tells it all, right?
Oh, yeah.
You could get crab.
Yep.
There's halibut. Looks like you could add on a fishing onto that.
Right.
There's a guy that shot. This guy actually got a fox. Lucas, I shot at a fox. But
That's a silver tip fox,
That's a
too.
long story. We won't get into that because everybody will pick on me for missing.
I missed one just like that with my bow at about 55 yards.
And then the
on the beach.
harlequins and the black-tailed deer. I mean, where can you go and have, for 5 days, that many different experiences?
That diversity of wildlife and fishing, too.
And it's just, it's really, really fun. So, and I'm assuming...
here's the thing, too, is here's what we've experienced over the years, too. You never know what makes a person, I can tell everybody, I've never hunted whitetails in Kansas, but I imagine if somebody did, what do you do when you're done? Where, see, up here, there's always something else to do. I mean, between fox and sea ducks and the fishing and whatever. And here's the deal. We've had people that got up there that they were so excited about fishing halibut, they come back the next summer to go halibut fishing. So a lot of people don't realize till they get there, but you'd be amazed that somebody will shoot a really nice deer but be more excited about the ducks or the fish than they were the deer.
Yeah.
So by having more things on the menu, so to speak, it definitely is a bigger asset for sure.
And I mean, the price point is really, really reasonable too.
I can talk to that too. There's several other lodges where we're at that do the same thing that charges a lot more, and I can tell you the difference is because they cater more to the higher income, where they have a jacuzzi, they serve wine with your dinner. We're more of a just family operation to just deal with that. Yeah.
Meat and potatoes.
That's why we do good here in Utah, because a lot of people here like to hunt, but there are families where they don't want the big exotic hunts.
They don't need all that.
And so that's why we always do very well here. People here, usually this booth is full all day, every day, with people that have been with us before that just like to talk about their trip.
So, Randy, I understand with the caribou, was it years ago someone had caribou and then they ended up getting loose from their property and they ended up...
From what I understand, no, it was way back in the 30s and 40s.
Okay.
They transplanted
They
them on
introduced
Kodiak.
them there? Okay.
They introduced them there, yeah, and then they just...
Okay.
I think they tried to... They had them pinned when they first got there for some purpose in the village in the south end, and then I don't know if they were turned loose or they just where they planted there on purpose, but they've just flourished ever since.
Yeah.
In fact, the mountain goats were planted back in the 40s. They tried sheep that they didn't take. They tried moose, they didn't take, mainly because they didn't transplant enough of them there. Mm-hmm. But the goats have taken off big time. I mean, you're not allowed 2 of them. There's lots of goats in Kodiak.
When we were flying from Kodiak to Larsen Bay, we were flying right at about that level where when you were cutting in through some of those divides, you could see the goats right off the side of the mountain. It was pretty incredible.
They figured the one that I shot was an old nanny. They figured she was probably one of the first offsprings when they were transplanted there back in the 50s. Because I shot mine in 68. And they figured she was about 17 or 18 years old.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so like I said, I saved that gun. They shot theirs with the same age. So I just, and back then I just did it just because that's where I grew up. But I think it's an advantage for her now with her show, because a lot of the girls that do the same thing she does, a lot of them have just got into it recently, where my daughter's been doing it since she could walk, basically. Yeah. She's been fishing. She won the silver salmon derby when she was 8 with a fly that she tied. One of our clients taught her how to tie flies. So she's been doing this for many years. So I'm really excited for her, because she can actually benefit all this documentation I did over the years, end up paying off. At the time, I didn't do it. Like, I filmed her shooting her first deer at 6, 7, 8. Hans was actually with us a lot of those hunts too, actually.
Yeah.
If you look at her tribute if you go to her YouTube channel, she did a tribute where she shows that footage where he was actually filming when we go up on the hill, all those different years. I didn't realize how many years he was actually with us when she did that stuff.
And that's Crimson's Trail, right?
Yeah, Crimson Trail. This Crimson is with a K. She did that. She started that several years ago for her music, because that fit her music, and obviously she's got red hair, so that made sense. So when she got a show and she wants to follow, the main thing about her show she wants to emphasize too is the lifestyle. She hears a lot of people talk about how people hunt for trophies, and she's proud to show that how she, she has a slogan on a lot of her stuff that says, I shoot it, I clean it, I cook it, I eat it. Yeah. She wants to show people this is not even her bear. A lot of people don't eat bear, but she brought her bear meat out to show that she eats it. So,
well, and that's kind of the silly thing today, and Lucas and I have had debates about this. I've been labeled a trophy hunter.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a little older than most people.
Right.
Most of the people you see running around here, they haven't been here like you and I for 20 plus years. When I was first starting out, I was not necessarily a trophy hunter. I was just the guy that wanted to hunt. But then when I killed my first big animal, and I had to work 4 times longer in order to do that accomplishment, it changed the way I like to hunt. And now it's a challenge for me, and I like to spend the time in the outdoors longer.
Right.
And I tell most people that tell me, well, I don't believe in trophy hunting. I'm like, well, you're 20.
Right.
You're not there yet.
Well, if you're allowed to shoot a deer, and you shoot deer because it's something that you put in the freezer for the wintertime, there's nothing wrong with shooting the biggest one you see. There's nothing. Yeah. That doesn't mean you're just out with just a trophy.
It's about would you rather take a mature animal that's had years to procreate and to a point maybe where he's on his downturn, or you want to shoot something that's 2 years old that hasn't had that ability? And that's how they label trophy hunting, is shooting the big animal.
Yeah, they don't understand it. People that hunt, this is the main thing that people are uneducated on. People that hunt care more about that resource than the people that don't.
Bingo.
Absolutely.
Because here's what's really hit a nerve with me with my daughter. This is what's been very, very difficult, is she gets these hate mail, and that's pretty hard when your dad reads her Instagram where they're threatening her life, saying, how would you like it if we get a gun and hunt you down? That's not easy.
Welcome to my NRA world, buddy.
Yeah. Well, that happened about a week ago. A bunch of them got together and they jumped on her, and she woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning with hundreds of death threats on all her pages. So I tried to encourage her to say, look, you'll be fine. She's like, well, what? They were trying to take her page down. So she asked her dad, I've never been through something like, I'm not social media savvy. And I said, well, first of all, you have 18,000 followers that follow you every day. If they do take you down, they're not going to know where you went. I said, at 21 years old, she doesn't understand that you're a family, you're hunters. Yeah. They will support you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what I asked her to do, and it worked out, I'm really excited how this works, is just go on your page and just write in the letters and say, look, I've been attacked by a bunch of, anti-hunters, and they're going to try to take my page down, so if you don't see me anymore, you'll know where my page went. That's not asking for help. and I knew what would happen. I was praying that this is what happened. She had hundreds and hundreds of people commenting saying, they better not dare take your page down. They'll have to take mine down.
Yep.
And so they went on there and they discovered that most of that hate mail was all overseas. There was other countries that were saying, why are you shooting bears? They're extinct. And they were people that were uneducated. They weren't
That's the problem, is most people don't understand or are so uneducated, and it's that, like I say, it's that 10%. You're never ever going to change that 10%, right? Of people, there's always going to be haters, and I get a lot of that mail too.
He's
and
in the same boat.
The funny thing is a lot of it is it's in Chinese, or it's in, it's in. I mean, you can't even understand it. So
I looked up a couple. They were from Turkey. They were, like, for instance, another thing I like about bears. And this goes to conservation. There's more bears being killed every year in Kodiak. There's more permits every year, and there's more bears every year. Now, let me tell you why. Because those big boars, they kill the sows and they'll kill the cubs.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're targeting those big boars, like all your hunters are doing, you're killing those big boars that are killing. And we watched the population in Kodiak grow and grow and grow. And so people are saying, well, if you're giving out more permits and more bears are being killed, why is there more bears? And that's pretty simple. Like, she did a hunt in May this year, and we were seeing 30, 40 bears a day, and the majority of those were sow and cubs. I mean, that area had been known for boars for years, and after so many people targeting them, so I mean, it's actually good for the population, because there's more boars killed by, or there's more bears killed by boars than the hunters are, but people. She posted on her site this summer there was a bear got in the back of somebody's truck right in the middle of Kodiak.
Oh, well, I
that
still
becomes
remember,
a problem too.
I still remember you taking us around and going, okay, guys, don't go out after dark just for security purposes, but we've had a bear running around here. And I'm thinking, whatever. And then we go out, and here's a freaking pie plate-sized track, and I'm like, holy cow, that gets your attention when you put your boot down and your boot fits inside a bear track. Well,
he's got a guy just shot one that broke into his house 3 times this last year. He shot one right out the window of his bedroom. A bear had been breaking into his house like 3 different times. It was funny. It was right in Larsen Bay this last spring, and she posted this on her site. But it hit 2 different neighbors' house, and this one guy down there says, well, I'm going to get that bear for you. I'm going to come stay at your house, and I'll stay there on the porch till that bear comes in the middle of the night. And what happened that night is it went to his house, and got him. His son had shot a bear or deer that day. It was hanging there. He goes, well, I'm sure it'll come back. And so he shot a deer right out of his bedroom window. Because they reality in the village is, you never know. Like when she goes from place to place cooking for clients at night, you have to be careful, because you never know when you're going to walk around the corner and see a bear. There's dogs in the village that usually scare them off, but they don't get all of them. I mean, you could literally walk into one.
Yeah, and they become domesticated when they get close to town, and if there's food left out, other things, they're going to find that.
Well, and that one time we went down to the dump, and you're like, watch this. We threw all the carcasses out that we had deboned, and we pulled away from it. And, I mean, we didn't drive 40 feet. I mean, we were still moving in the vehicle, and all of a sudden it was like there was a bear, and it was on it. And I still remember you go, watch this, bear. And he walked over and he grabbed the neck and shoulder, and he just did one little – it didn't even look like he tried, and it split it in half. And I'm like – wow, look at the power of that animal.
After my brother shot his deer, we went back, took it back to the transport, came back up on the mountain, and we saw a bear literally cover probably 2.5 miles in about 5 minutes through all that thick alder and all that stuff, and he went right to that gut pile. It was crazy because he just had his nose in the air, and he knew right where to go.
Well, that's one thing about hunting deer on Kodiak that everybody will ask when they're looking for a hunt there, is they ask about the bears. So the bear's going to bother me. And most of the time they don't, except for we tell people, and we pick people up at the end of the day, and we say, do whatever you can do to get that deer out, because if you leave it up there, I tell people they got about a 50-50 chance.
If you have to leave it and come back the next day, about a 50-50 chance?
There's about 50-50. And this one guy last year he left 2 deer on the hill. He goes, what's my odds? And I go 50-50. And it was just about right, because one deer was there and one wasn't. One wasn't.
Well, in the way I understand from Alaska is it's not your property till it's actually on the boat. So if the bear's on it, it's theirs, right? I mean, it's not your deer.
Well, I don't know any man in his right mind which would try to take a black-tailed deer away from a grizzly bear.
No.
Well, that's the main thing is Kodiak's got a bad rap, because they say if you shoot a deer, the bears come around. That's not true. It's just you could put enough hunters out there every year. I mean, the bears, if they smell a carcass, are obviously going to go to it. And some people you know, some people have bumped into them, but if you realize how many people have been out there, I mean, all the years I've hunted there, I've never had a problem. Our clients, very rarely, every once in a while, somebody has some kind of encounter. But leaving them out in the wilderness, even then, that's not dangerous because the bear won't eat it right there. The bear will just take the deer anyway, so that's not even an issue as far as being dangerous. But, you know, it does have a reputation for bears because that's the number one question we're asked: is the bear going to be a problem?
Eat me. Yeah, we saw 11 on our trip. We saw 11 bears. Yeah, and we had one that bluff charged us at about 10 paces. So, and the wind was coming at us. He couldn't hear us, or he could hear us, but he couldn't wind us. And we were looking at deer right on 7 Mile. And right as he cleared right through the alders, he was right there, literally at 10 paces, and we were yelling, "Get out of here, bear!" He caught up on his hunches and he went right back and shot back around. But we were locked and loaded, ready to go.
Well, that's what I tell people: if they know you're there, if you have an animal and you're going somewhere and you're through the brush, or I just tell people just make lots of noise. If they know you're there, they're going to run.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're dragging a blood trail, that might be a little different.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're more scared of you than you are of them. You get upwind of a bear and he gets wind of you, he's gone. I mean, in fact, I've got plenty of videos of bears that will just be sitting there, and as soon as they see a boat, they're just.
Yeah.
So I mean, if anything, bear, I know because of all the years I've only hunted bears twice in all the years I did on Kodiak, and this May with my daughter, I realized just how spooky they are. It's not actually easy getting on a bear.
Yeah.
We see a lot of bears every day, and if they get any wind of you at all. So, I mean, they will avoid you at every cost.
Well, and that goes back to the hunting the boars, which is what you're focused on. Once they've been hunted, animals do realize that. That's the difference, though, between, like, the grizzly bears down here in the States. Nobody's hunted them in years, so those things are, like, brazen. They just literally will go wherever they want because they're not used to anybody challenging them.
No, if you're downwind, there's such a huge difference. They got such, I mean, they're all about smell.
Yeah.
It was funny this bear season. We were looking for a big bear, and my son came on for one day. He was commercial fishing. He came out for one day, so he's going to take a little sister out and help her get a bear. We come around this point, and this really big bear went over this little ridge. It was this point kind of went all the way, went kind of stair step down to the point, and we see it was a big bear. So we're going to go around the corner and have him come right to us. So we're downwind. So I go in this little beach, and I go to drop him off. And I just drifted offshore and let those guys hunt. So I'm out there, and I was just fiddling around the boat. And they looked up on the hill, and they saw a bear going. They figured that was it, and it wasn't what they thought. It wasn't as big as they thought, so I kept going. I looked around, and I couldn't believe what I see. Here's this huge bear, at least 10 foot plus. He had walked over. It was dark, and it wasn't the one they were looking at. Wasn't them. He's walking right towards them, and they're on the point. And I'm waving like crazy, saying there's a bear, and they're looking up on the hill, going, "Yeah, we see it. It's right there." I'm like, "No, on the beach." That bear walked all the way around the point and was from me to that guy away from me. Almost walked right into him.
That's only about 20 yards at the most. That's crazy.
I finally had to yell. I had to scream. Of course, the bear looked, and they looked, and the bear took off running. But I wish I could have got that on video. Here's this 10-foot bear walking on the beach and literally going to walk right over the top of him.
Well, Randy, kind of in wrapping up. So we have just about everything underneath the moon. So your primary season for fishing is during the summer. Is that the best?
Yeah, we start in June. June's the best time. June. And we have salmon all summer. Like June is sockeye and kings, and then we go into July where you start getting cohos, and then August we have all 5 species of salmon in August. We have the best steelhead fish in the world in October. I mean, we've had clients catch 50 steelhead in a day, and sometimes in October.
And that's the ocean?
No, that's the river.
River?
We fish the world famous Kodiak River so basically there's something going on from June. We get a little bit of a break between like the middle of September to the first part of October. We get a couple weeks off, and we go right into hunting until the middle of December. So it's a long season.
So if somebody wanted to do black-tailed deer and steelhead, then the October time frame would be the time frame to try to.
If they're leaning more towards it's a more priority for deer, they'd want to come in November, maybe when they're in the rut. But instead of catching 20, 30 steelhead in a day, you might catch 10.
Okay.
So there's usually a trade-off there.
Still a killer
and we do
fun time.
We do the caribou mainly in October because the lakes start to freeze. We access them by float planes, so the lakes start to freeze in November, so we do that in October.
That's fantastic. And now, all the permits, now I know we're not talking grizzly bear, we're talking for deer and caribou. Those are basically over-the-counter permits, is that correct?
Yeah, even the goats are over-the-counter. The only thing is if you're non-resident, you have to have a guide.
Yeah.
So we do actually do some Alaska resident for goats in our area too. But yeah, the deer tags are over-the-counter, the caribou tags are over-the-counter. So yeah, that's all pretty much over-the-counter except for, like I say, bear and goat.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
That is awesome, man. I can't wait. It's funny. We start talking again. I'm like, I gotta go do it again. I'm ready.
Time to go back.
Well, we'd love to have you come back up there. Either one of you guys can come up anytime you want. We love, we have clients that come up, but we always like to have friends come up because we like to hunt too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not just all about clients. We're constantly going off and doing our thing. I mean, there's not much pressure in the area we're at down there. So, I mean, there's lots of area down there. So, you guys are welcome to come up. And I encourage everybody to check out my daughter's show. I'm really proud of what she does for kids. Crimson for Kids is really a great program to maybe check out her.
We'll put that information. We'll put that information in the show
Crimson
notes.
with a K, Crimson Trail, and she has a channel on YouTube.
Cool. So Kodiak Charters, www.kodiak-charters.com.
Yep.
Kodiak, Alaska.
And when in doubt, 907-481-FISH. No? Oh my gosh. Terri, you can't do that to me.
Have to put a little black strip over that.
I need you to say the phone number into the microphone. Come here. See, I knew I'd get her sooner or later.
We'll get one plug.
Give us the number.
Our number is 907-942-4909.
And for those of you don't know, that's Terri. She'll take good care of you.
The 75%.
The 75%. 25, 75, or a quarter and three quarters. We'll call it out.
And on some evenings, it's not even that.
Well, Randy,
we've been married for almost 40 years, so sometimes I drop below that level.
Hey, we all earned our spot, and I'm sure since you were here at this show on Valentine's Day, you earned your spot, buddy.
Oh, you betcha.
Yep.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Randy.
guys.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Catch you later, guys.
Signing off.
All right.
Ciao.
Hey everyone, this is Lucas Paw, host of the RNA Outdoors podcast. Please check out Podbean and iTunes. If you have an iPhone or iPad, go to the podcast app on your device, search for RNA Outdoors, and hit the purple subscribe button. When doing this, it will automatically upload when new podcasts are loaded, and they will download into your queue. For Android users, you can access the podcast through Podbean, Stitcher, or use our website, www.rnaoutdoors.com/podcast. In addition, under the RNA Outdoors podcast channel, please leave a review and a 5-star rating. These reviews help boost our popularity and outreach. You can also follow us on our social media outlets, Twitter at RNA Outdoors, Facebook, RNA Outdoors, and Instagram, Rod and Arrow Outdoors. All links are in the show notes as well. If you like what you've heard, we hope you'll pass along our channel to your friends and colleagues. Keep up the good fight. We cannot sit by and watch the public lands devoted to wildlife protection wither away. There's simply too much at stake. Make your voice heard, speak up, and get involved with conservation efforts, and know that every little bit helps. As we say on the mountain, go farther, stay longer.